Across the Fence, we'll learn about the Special Services Transportation Agency. It's providing transportation to thousands of Vermonters who have specialized needs. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. If you live in or near Chittenden County, you've probably seen the white vans and cars with an SSTA logo. Those vehicles are the backbone of the Special Services Transportation Agency. As part of our ongoing partnership with the University of Vermont Center on Aging, we're going to delve into the SSTA to learn about its services, costs, and future. Joining me are the SSTA Executive Director, Murray Benner, and the Chair of SSTA's Board of Directors, Tracy Huntington. Thanks so much for coming in to being with us today. So, Murray, what is the SSTA and what does it do?
SSTA is Special Services Transportation Agency. It's an organization that provides transportation for individuals who have difficulty using traditional means of transportation, such as a bus or a car or a taxi.
And can you give me some examples of some of the places that the SSTA provides transportation to?
In Chittenden County, if you name it, we've probably been there. But certainly one of our biggest drivers are the medical needs of individuals. We do a lot of dialysis work. We do a lot of cancer critical care work, along with anything else that somebody needs to go on a regular basis. We have people who use this to go shopping, for grocery shopping, and for other types of appointments.
And so what's the history of the agency?
Well, it was started out back in 1982, and as a joint effort between the bus company back then, CCTA, and United Way, with one vehicle, and it was operating out of Cathedral Square downtown. And
so what's it like today?
Well, over the years, we have gone from 6,000 trips in a year to where last year we did about 150,000.
Wow. And you say the agency is headquartered in Colchester?
Yes, we are.
And tell me a little bit about that.
We've been on the site we're currently at in Colchester for about 15 years now. We moved out of the fort. We've migrated slowly, went from Church Street to 40th and Allen, and now we're up in Colchester.
And tell me about your fleet.
The fleet is a mixed fleet. We have a variety of sedans, like normal automobiles, like you and I would drive to work. We have some minivans. And then we have a lot of vehicles that are what we call to be cutaways, and they are lift equipped, so somebody in a wheelchair who needs specialized transportation does not need to get out of the wheelchair in order to get someplace. So they are loaded using this hydraulic lift into the van. They're secured properly so the vehicles or the wheelchairs don't move around, and then we take them wherever they want to go.
And talk a little bit about the Vermonters you serve. Who are these people?
Well, we serve, SSTA primarily serves Chittenden County. We do go somewhat into St. Albans and a little bit out of the area. We do some transportation back and forth to Boston, but that's not the bulk of our business. But within the state, there are other public transit providers that do the same or similar services to what we do throughout
in different counties.
In different counties.
And Tracy, talk a little bit about the work that you do with the board.
Well, I've been on the board now, it's about 9 years, Judy, and Murray asked me to chair the board a couple of years ago. So there's 12 members of the board. We have 3-year terms, and one of the things we wanted to concentrate on this year was to help Vermonters know what SSTA is. When I moved here, I saw them all the time, but I didn't know what they did. So part of our hopes are that we can market SSTA a little bit more, and also look at how the board functions. How can we assist Murray and his management team, particularly in moving the organization forward using new technology, which we've talked about a little bit, but certainly it's a board that's very active, and we have a lot of new members who are just very enthused. And
well, that's great. That's a great resource to have. And so how many people do you serve, and where are they located?
The bulk of the people would be in the Burlington area, but like I said before, we go all over Chittenden County. But the bulk of the area in the in the Burlington area, and we do about 650 to 700 one-way rides per week, or per day rather. So what that means is that some people take us multiple times during the day, some people may ride one way with us, but total is about that 600, 700 rides per day.
And we should mention too that this isn't a taxi service.
No, we are not a taxi service. We don't have the capability to do a lot of same-day trips. So all of our rides are booked in advance. They're done by a reservation. We take reservations up to 9 days in advance, in some cases, or 7 days in for another. And When you call up, you tell the person, the dispatcher, whoever takes the call, where you'd like to go, how much time you think you're going to need. We don't stay with you when you're dropped off. We're not personal care attendants. We will pick you up. We provide door-to-door service. We'll help you get to the van or the car. We'll get you to where you want to go. We'll make sure you get unloaded safely and into the building where you want to go. But then we have to come back to get you. We're trying to utilize our fleet the most effectively we can, so we just don't have the capability of waiting.
Mm-hmm. And so who funds SSTA?
We are funded primarily through contracts. We have a big contract with CCTA, the bus company, Chittenden County Transportation Agency. We do all the Medicaid brokerage in Chittenden County for somebody who needs a ride through Department of Health Access. And we do have a couple of other programs, but those two programs and one called Elderly and Disabled are the bulk of our contracts.
Mm-hmm. And so what's the annual budget?
Annual budget right now is about $4.5 million.
Wow.
We have grown consistently, and when I took over in '93, I think our budget was about $300,000, but the needs have changed. There's a lot more demand for our services, and I don't think that demand is going to go away.
We actually have a graphic that sort of illustrates that as far as what the ridership has been like through the years for your agency. As you can see, back in 1985, I guess there were 6,000, a little over 6,000 one-way rides, and now, this year, 140,000, or almost 141. That's amazing.
It's amazing, and there's a lot of influences for that. The American Disability Act came into 1992. Our population is aging rapidly, as I can attest to. And our types of service we deliver, the medical community is delivering service on an outpatient basis. So when you couple all those things together, I don't ever see our ridership demand going down. In fact, I worry about our being able to meet it. The increasing demands is something that we just can't meet right now.
And Tracy, as a board member, is that a concern that you have as well?
Yes, definitely. I think recruitment is, for drivers in particular, is a big issue. And I don't see that diminishing.
No.
Murray and his group provide very, competitive wages. It's a wonderful work environment. There's a lot of training required of the drivers as they go through safety training and so forth. So it is a big issue for us, and I think, again, the board just needs to support and perhaps influence to some degree with different members of the community as board members to help Murray and his staff, move forward. We've got major projects going on now, a new building, which is happening. Murray and his group have put in a fuel tank right at the site, which saves a lot of time for drivers not having to go to different gas stations and so forth. So they fuel up in the morning and get through the day without stopping at various locations. So
let's talk a little bit about the drivers, because they have to be pretty special people to be able to handle some of the demands of the job.
The drivers are truly the backbone of the organization. There's no doubt about it. We have drivers. We operate 7 days a week. So I've got drivers that are there at 5:45 in the morning, and we operate till some service till midnight, or Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday are lesser service, so I've got people working a lot of hours. The drivers go through extensive screening when they're hired. They are all background checked. They look at Department of Motor Vehicle checks, their other history. And it can be physically demanding. They do a lot of assisting of passengers, both with steadying somebody on a walker to loading on a wheelchair and making sure the wheelchair is secured properly. They're dealing with clients with a lot of unusual needs. We're dealing with Alzheimer's clients. We're dealing with other types of physical and psychological issues that it's just not where they hop in and out of a car like you and I do. They really do an outstanding job with some very unusual clients.
Mm-hmm. So what's the formal mission of SSTA?
SSTA's mission is to provide accessible transportation for people who can't otherwise have trouble accessing transportation. Like I said earlier, the wheelchair clients who can't get out, the people who can't get in and out of a vehicle, they've got cognitive issues so they can't ride the bus. So we're trying to serve a very specialized population.
Mm-hmm. And how is SSTA set up? What's the structure of the agency?
Well, it is a volunteer, it's a private nonprofit. Like we said, it was set up in 1982. And it's run by a volunteer board of directors. And I theoretically run the place. and I have staff working for them. We have about 70 full and part-time employees right now.
Wow. And tell me a little bit about how it's set up for the ridership. I mean, who calls you to request a ride? Is it an agency? Is it an individual?
90% of our rides are requested by the individual. Some of the screening process are done by others, but once somebody is approved, they simply call us up when they know in advance. The more advance notice we can get, the better. They schedule the ride, they talk to us directly. We may negotiate a change in times because we're busy that time. We may want to combine trips, so we'll say we're going to pick you up 15 minutes early or later, but they call and arrange the trips themselves.
Mm-hmm. And these folks who use your service should consider their schedule a little bit more flexibly to fit in with what you folks are trying to accomplish.
Yeah, because we're trying to combine rides and get more efficiencies and get more transportation for individuals, we encourage people that utilize their service to give themselves more time than maybe you or I would when we're trying to get someplace. We can't anticipate traffic. We can't anticipate always the weather.
Right.
We won't ever abandon anybody, but if you miss your trip, it may take us more time to get back to you.
And we talked about the challenge of recruiting and retaining drivers. What are some of the other challenges that you're facing?
The biggest issue is going to be the growth in the population, being able to keep up with the demand. And obviously that's going to be related to funding. And I think everybody talks about funding these days, but with the changing nature of our population, it will be hard to meet the demand.
And you mentioned too earlier an automated scheduling system.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's something called Route Match, and we're very excited about it. We've been working on it for a couple of years, and we anticipate it starting in January. I'm excited, but I'm extremely nervous at the same time.
And what does this do?
It will, right currently we schedule manually, so when you call in and book a ride, we try and put you into the best van, the best possible. But we're doing 700 rides a day. It's impossible to really, it's a moving target all the time. It changes during the day, so we build schedules till 11 o'clock at night. The software will allow us to book and schedule rides more efficiently throughout the day, so we will do more real-time scheduling. It's not totally real-time, but we'll do more real-time scheduling.
And you talked earlier, you touched about a new building that is going up. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, our location, we've outgrown our space, so we're not adding a new building. We're putting an addition onto the existing building, which is really an old house. So we're adding a first, about 2,300 square feet on the first floor, trying to get enough space for people to move around and allow for more growth.
Is there a scheduled time for completion for that, or is this just kind of ongoing?
Well, we broke ground, we've started construction. The scheduled time for completion is mid-February.
And what else would you say? We didn't even talk too much about this, but you mentioned the weather too being an issue. I would imagine in winter it just compounds, you know, trying to schedule people and keep everybody on the road.
The winter weather is always a challenge. We don't very often cancel our rides. We may cancel people who are out like in Huntington or something because the roads are so bad we can't get there. But we typically, if the buses are running or we will do our best. People who are going to dialysis or cancer critical care really don't care what the weather is.
Right.
I think our record, like a couple days when we had that big blizzard a few years ago, was we had like 5 people that day that we transported because they were critical. And I think our record the other way was about 760. So winter time, I'm watching Gary Sadowski at 5 o'clock in the morning.
And hoping he's accurate. He usually is.
It's always a challenge.
It's a moving target.
You know, we talked a little bit about the future. What do you see ideally for the future? I know that there are challenges, but what would you like to see in a perfect world?
I think there is not enough transportation out there.
Right.
We are encouraging people to age in place, and yet we don't allow for the fact that some of them, you've got to go grocery shopping, you've got to eat, you're going to have more services. So you're maybe not in a nursing home, but your service needs are going to continue to grow. And because of the limitations of transportation, people need to get out to socialize, they get out to eat. So I'm concerned that the transportation system won't keep up with the demand.
And is that something that you face as a board member?
Yes, we do. And we're looking also, we've talked about what other populations could we serve through SSTA. We've talked a little bit about daycare centers and transporting children. But again, it has to be a balance with what we can provide and our pipe dreams of how we'd like to expand.
So where can viewers get more information about SSTA?
Well, there are a couple of ways. The phone number would be 802-878-1527, and it will put you into a queue, and then somebody will answer any of your questions for you. We also have a website, which is SSTA Rides, R-I-D-E-S, plural, .org. Somebody can reference and get more information. If you ask about other areas of the state, I don't have that information with me, but if you call us, we've got all the names and the addresses of the public transit providers in the state, so we can help you reach out to Bennington or to St. Albans, wherever you need to go.
Terrific.
We'll put you in touch.
I want to thank you both for joining me today. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.